Good evening. This is News. I'm Ali.
And I'm Laurie.
Tonight on News, how does bullying affect people in Tauranga? We bring you an exclusive report.
We ask what makes Mounta Maunganui Beach so special.
And a special investigation into what life will be like for the kids of 2022 when they're adults.
But first, today's headlines.
Laurie's cousins came to visit.
And Ali had fish and chips at her Nana and Papa's house with her family.
Misha had taught her dog to play dead.
Ray is enjoying some peace and quiet.
And finally, literally thousands of people gathered at Baycourt Theatre in Tauranga for the launch of a new local television news show. The crowd was described as mainly very happy, and so far the show has been an enormous success.
And now, a special report on bullying from our reporters Ali, Andy, Leon and I.
We're here at the historic village and we're about to interview some people of the public about what they think about bullying. What's your name?
My name is Sandy.
My name's Jeannie. Her name's Rosie.
Have you ever seen bullying?
Yes, I've seen it a few times.
Have you ever seen bullying?
Yes, I've been bullied myself.
I haven't seen bullying firsthand, but I do have a little sister, and she always came home and was bullied a lot.
Just something that's going on around the world.
Yes, bullying is a terrible thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have you been bullied?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. I think a lot of children go through bullying, and it's really not a good thing at school or even as growing up as adults. Even adults get it too, don't they?
Yeah.
So I think more people should be speaking up for it, and you're doing a great job.
Bullying is a massive subject because it may get talked about sometimes, potentially not enough, and even when it does get talked about, nothing really changes. I have had personal experience with bullying, and I think that we should act up about it. We wanted to know how bullying affects people across Tauranga.
We started by talking to Siska Vogelsang. She's an organisational psychologist.
Does bullying happen in the workplace?
Absolutely, it does. I'm sorry to say. There's just been a research done by the Human Rights Commission in New Zealand this year, and they interviewed about 2,500 people, and about 40% of those said that they've been bullied in their work life, and 20% of those said that it actually happened in the last 12 months.
Why do people bully in the workplace?
Now, that's an interesting question, isn't it? Why would people do that? I think, from my background, because I studied something called organisational psychology. So it looks at behaviour of people at work, and it wonders why people do certain things. And I think people that bully, they're often not very happy themselves. But it often has to do with power. You know, people want to be bigger or better than someone else.
How do you feel about New Zealand as a whole, and how our government handles bullying?
From an organisation perspective, I think it's really important that we talk about these things and that they have these conversations at the workplace that, hey, we don't do that. This is not, we expect this kind of behaviour of respectfulness, and we want everybody to work together instead of those. So I don't think it's just the government that can do something about it. I think we can put a policy in place and we can say that's not allowed. But finally, us people, we have to do it. So I think in organisations we have to have managers and people maybe on the top that say, nah, this is not what we do it this way. And that will make a change.
Everyone is affected by bullying, yet some people are more vulnerable to it. We're handing it over to Pramila, who works in multicultural Tauranga.
Have any of the people you work with had any experiences with bullying?
So what happens with bullying for adults, what it looks like is they sometimes get taken advantage of at work
by being asked to work for long hours and not being given the right amount of pay. And they're forced to do this because they sometimes want residency in New Zealand, and so they have to put up with it. Unfortunately, what we've heard is that bullying is not overt. It means you cannot see it outside. It's very subtle sometimes, and it's just small actions that can make a person feel a little lesser than others, and that often happens in New Zealand. According to the feedback we've got from some migrants, it's not spoken about openly because people have who are moving to a new country move with a positive attitude, and they feel that if they are talking about this, they are bringing negative stuff into their life, and they also do not want to be seen as trouble causers.
What do you think the effects of bullying are?
The effects are terrible of bullying, of course. It destroys a person's sense of confidence, their sense of identity. They begin doubting themselves. We've also heard, as I said, as part of my experiences, I've heard that people can also have physical manifestations of ill health due to bullying. So bullying is a severe problem.
How do you get people to change their behaviour long term?
Strong messaging from the government. Some of the laws can be changed so that bullying has serious consequences. In any social issue, you basically need to change people's mindsets. And that's the answer. And as I said, the young people are coming up talking about are being brought up talking about these issues, and I think that's going to make a world of a difference.
Bullying is obviously a big problem and we need to do more to fix it. To explain how, we went to Mounta Maunganui College to talk to Alistair Sinton, the school principal.
Do you feel good about the way the government and New Zealand as a whole handles bullying?
I'd like to see a lot more support and investment into education in particular. So guidance counsellors and the support that we get here at Mounta Maunganui College isn't reflected in our primary schools. I'd like to see the government step up its investment from a much, much earlier age than at high school.
What are your policies of punishments for bullying?
Our school is a restorative school, which means that in the first instance we try to get students to work together and discuss and move forward on those problems. We work really, really hard at the school for our staff to build really positive relationships with students. So going right back to the very beginning, it's about making sure that our staff are, I guess, approachable enough and caring enough that students trust that they can pass that information on. When you are surrounded or come across an incident of bullying, you can be a participant and act on that bullying. You can be a bystander and just watch it happen, or you can be an upstander and you can actually take steps to interact to stop the bullying happen and create an environment of respect and kindness.
I've learnt that a lot of people are connected to bullying, whether it's being the victim or the bully, and both need help.
I think if you are a bully, then you should stop and consider, why do you think you're bullying?
Bullying can be stopped, it's just it will take a lot to get there. I think that the government should be doing more and raising it a bit more. I think New Zealand as a whole should be working together to fix that.
This is Andy, Laurie, Ali and Leon signing off. Back to you in the studio.
And since that report was completed, bullying has continued happening all across Tauranga. What do you think about bullying, Ali?
I don't think it's a good thing for people to experience in life, and I don't think it's a good thing for Tauranga either.
Interesting.
We've just received this breaking news. Vish doesn't have any pets, but he'd quite like a dog. And now we're handing over to Laurie for the weather. Laurie?
Thanks, Ali. I'm getting out of my seat now. I'm walking across the stage, past the desk, and out of the door. I don't think my mic's on. It's not that cold out here. Not much wind either. It's very grey. There's not much birds and the palm trees look very sad, and the sky is it's very overcast and whitish grey, and there's not many trees around. Thanks, Ali. That's all for the weather. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Laurie. And now a special investigation into the beach from our reporters Ava, Ellie, Otis D and Otis K.
Kia ora, welcome to our news investigation. The beach is so special to the whole of Tauranga because it's one of the best beaches in the world. Ever since I was at least 3 or 4 years old, I've been going down to the beach, surfing with my dad, and it's been some of the happiest moments of my life down there. I wanted to find out other people's perspectives on the beach and what they thought about it. So we spoke to some people who care about the beach as much as we do.
My name is Teo Maori and I'm a surfer.
My name is Jamie Troughton. I'm a lifeguard here at the Mounta Maunganui Lifeguard Service.
My name is Buddy McKay. I'm a historian. I've got a reasonably large publication record.
My name is Phil Ross. I am a marine biologist at the University of Waikato.
The beach, I don't know, I just like it. I just always love doing it, going down if it's swimming, bodyboarding, surfing. I just love the beach.
I guess Mount Maunganui Beach is special to me because of, I guess it's where I spent most of my, working life now.
It's really special to me because I love the water, I love the ocean, and it's my favourite playground, and it's also somewhere where it gives me a lot of happiness, and lots of people are like that in New Zealand. We all enjoy it. So being a lifeguard means I get to help people while being in my favourite place.
Oh, well, it's got lots of memories for me. This is where I grew up. This is where I learned how to surf. This is where I kissed my first girlfriend. So it's all got good meanings for me, yeah.
Well, I grew up here and learned how to surf here, so it's my favourite beach and always come back and I like it more than any other beach.
In the old days, the beach was the highway because we didn't have a road. So journeying up and down the coast here was along the beach mainly. We all know about Moao at the end of our beach and what a famous landmark that is. It's an important landmark for Māori, especially all the iwi that come from Tauranga. They always mention it as part of their pepeha. You know what a pepeha is? So that's where you explain where you come from. And so you'll find many of the Tauranga iwi will say something like, ko Moao taku maunga. Moao is my mountain.
The beaches themselves are kind of a bit unstudied and less understood. And it's really strange given that this is the bit of the ocean where people spend most of their time, go to the beach, go for a swim, and we really don't know much about what's out there.
What is your name?
My name is Maria.
What makes this beach special to you and why?
Makes it special because of the mount. I think that the view is great and I like that there are lots of families. I have a newborn now, so it's good to come with my family and walk around.
Well, we both grew up here in the sunny Bay of Plenty, so Mount Maunganui is, sort of hits home. It's our beach we grew up on, so it's real special to us. Lots of memories made here.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Oh, this is a beautiful place, makes me feel great.
It's so fun to hang out on, and it's a great place to hang out with your family.
I call this home, but to a lot of people they will call this paradise. So it's my paradise called home.
I'm not originally from here, so to be able to live in this place and take it in every day, be able to walk up this mount is just very special to me.
Are you worried about the beach's future?
Well, with the way that the world and the pollution and the littering's going, it could be potentially dangerous for the future of what it holds.
You'd hate for something to happen to your beach, Yeah.
Are you worried about this beach's future?
Yes, the pollution.
I'm worried about pollution most.
Not so worried about anything right now, but hopefully people will look after it so nature can look after us as well.
Are you worried about this beach's future?
Sometimes, yeah. I'm worried that we're going to get what they call intensification, which is allowing more high-rise buildings along our beach.
We know that pollution is a big problem. Increasingly we understand plastic. Microplastic pollution is a really serious problem. So we now know that in Tauranga, in the harbour and on the beaches, there's tiny particles of plastic are pretty much everywhere.
I'm worried about the impact that people have on our beaches, the beaches that we love all up and down the country. I think that we really need to protect them and look after them, and they're a pretty special place, and if we don't look after them we won't be able to enjoy them like we do.
If we could do something to protect the beach, what could we do?
There's a number of planting programs where we're replacing marram grass and other native vegetation on the sand dunes to stop them from eroding.
So probably the biggest thing we could do to start with is around pollution. So trying to, I guess, taking sort of personal responsibility for not littering ourselves, talking to our families around putting filters into our washing machines to make sure that we're capturing all the microplastics.
I'd like to see just simple things like cleaning up our waterways and rivers, because they all flow into the sea. We've had a few storms here in the last couple of days and lots of rubbish has washed out of the local rivers, which is really disappointing. So I'd love to see all of us take a greater responsibility for looking after our water.
So the beach, I think, is going to be okay. And I think hopefully we're going to move into an era where we do make sure we look after it really well.
No matter what, we should always make sure that the beach is looked after because it's a big, important part of our lives.
Everyone that we talk to cared about it, even some tourists who'd just come here.
Our message to you is to protect the beach. Don't throw your rubbish on the ground so it can blow into the ocean.
And do not let dogs go into those places that dogs are not allowed.
This is Otis K, Otis D, Ava and Ellie signing off back to the studio.
Sports news now. In the Bay of Plenty, Steamers won against Waikato, and Otis had a run around with his cousins. In swimming news, Ellie swam 2 kilometres at his swim squad, and Ava fell into the pool fully clothed. Finally, Molly went on a trampoline and got double bounced and broke her foot. And that's the end of the sports news. Now back to Laurie for an update on the weather.
Thanks, Ali. I'm down on Eat Street now. The weather's pretty much the same as it was before. There's a few shops around, mainly Chinese and Japanese, but there's also some pizza places. There's a lot of good shops down here, so it's making me hungry. And then there's loads of bikes parked here. There's loads of people chatting. I'm going to chat to you whilst I walk down the waterfront. Maybe the people having dinner and maybe talking about special things, because normally sometimes, well, when I go out, have dinner at late, it's normally it's because something's good or special is happening and we're going out. So like sometimes on my birthday I go out for dinner, and sometimes on my brother's birthdays I go out for dinner, and on my mum's birthdays I sometimes go out for dinner. So or maybe there might be another reason to go out. Maybe they're meeting someone there. So there's still lots of green, red and black and grey umbrellas. There's some Thai restaurants and Vietnamese ones. And then there's lots of and there's just up here there's English restaurants. and then I can see just a water world just coming up, and then the lights are still here but they're going away now. I think that's all I can see at the moment. I think I've covered everything. Back to you in the studio, Ali.
Thanks, Laurie. And now we turn to our final in-depth report of the evening. Our reporters have been finding out about the future of Tauranga. Here with a special report are Amelia, Greta, Liv and Molly.
Our news investigation is about what the future will be like for the kids of 2022. I wanted to investigate this in case there was something wrong that was happening, so we were prepared. To find out more about the future, we decided to speak to a fortune teller.
What is your full name?
My full name is Kim Corke, C-O-R-K-E. I don't have a middle name. That's as exciting as it gets.
What do you do for a job?
Well, I'm a psychic. That's what I do for a job. I have people come to me and they pay me and I read for them. And I tell them whatever messages they need to know.
Will the future be bad or good?
Well, you know, it's a bit like a bag of mixed sweets. You know, there's always good and bad. But at the end of the day, you know, good usually comes out. You know, the things usually work out for the best.
Will I be a lawyer when I'm older?
Do you want to be a lawyer when you're older?
Yes.
Then if you want to be a lawyer when you're older and you want that more than anything, then I've no doubt that's what you'll be.
Do you know how long I'll live for?
Well, you know, I have people that will ask me those questions and I always say that's between you and God. You know, we have a length of time and we must make the most of every moment of that time that we have. But I can't answer that question.
Kim didn't tell us very much about the future.
We wanted more direct answers and more scientific answers, so we went to talk to a scientist.
My name's Dr. Shari Gallop and I am a marine and environmental scientist at the University of Waikato.
What do you think the future will be like?
In terms of the environment? Yeah. Probably when you guys are my age, it could be in the Bay of Plenty, it might be about 1 degree warmer on average than it is now. We probably have more hotter days than we are now, and we probably have less colder days, so less frosts as well. So that's definitely going to affect habitats and ecology. We might see different types of species moving to different areas because the climate is changing. There could be some areas where we decide it's not a good place to have houses or to have particular facilities anymore. So we might have to move some things away from the coast or from rivers, for example. We're going to have to learn to adapt. So that could mean, for example, floating houses or, you know, just changing the way we're doing things to be able to live in those spaces. I think we're going to have to change the way we're eating. So, you know, less on animal products, but I think we have to change what we're eating and when. It's just a couple of things.
We're going to be interviewing Antoli tomorrow. Do you think you have any idea on what she's going to say about that?
Oh, I don't know what her opinion's going to be actually, but hopefully she might be able to tell you some of the things that are already being done in terms of climate and the environment. That'd be really good to ask her about those. And it would be really good to ask her about the longer term plan as well into the future, you know, not just for the next 3 to 5 years, but you know, climate change is a long-term thing, so it'd be cool to know, do they have any longer-term plans? You know, 100 years from now, what are they thinking?
Do you think we're doing enough to prevent pollution and help the environment?
No. So there is some really good stuff happening, and I think in general people getting more aware and doing more things. But there's absolutely more that we can do. You know, cars is a big one. You know, I drove here today in my car to talk about climate, and I was thinking I feel a little bit guilty about that. But, you know, having much better public transport, better safe cycleways. You know, I feel scared to go many places on my own, let alone taking my kids on the cycleways on my bike, and then we might drive places when we could cycle. So I think there's lots and lots of room for improvement.
After listening to Sherry, we had lots of questions for our last interviewee.
My name's Ann Tolley and I'm the Chair of the Tauranga City Council Commission.
Do you have a middle name?
Marilyn. My father called me Marilyn after a horse called Marylegs.
What are the council's long-term plans to help climate change?
We're already doing a lot of work. You'll know that we had a change to the way that we collected our rubbish, for instance. We've halved the amount of rubbish going into landfill. There's also been a lot of work done on the resilience of the area. We know where the vulnerable areas are for sea level rise. We know where the vulnerable areas are for tsunamis, and trying to make people aware that where they're living might be affected by some of those natural changes that we're going to see probably over the next 20 to 30 years.
We spoke to an environmental scientist and she said we're not doing enough. Why is it taking so long to make changes?
Because change is always difficult and many people are frightened of change. For instance, we're a very car-dependent place here in Tauranga. People are used to getting in their cars and driving anywhere they like. And yet we have a very good public service, a bus service. Most of those buses are travelling empty. So how do you get people to change their behaviour in order to reduce the number of cars on the road and have them use buses? So that's behaviour change. The buses are there, that change has been made, but people aren't using them. So that takes a lot longer, some of that to happen.
Are you ever afraid of change yourself?
I think everyone is. We get very comfortable with the way we're living and we like it. And change sometimes is uncertain. And so that can be a bit frightening for people. So you do have to work very carefully, and sometimes it seems slow. But actually, if you can take your community with you, understanding why you have to change, you get much better results.
Thank you for letting us ask you these questions.
You're very welcome, and I look forward to your show.
I've learned a lot, mainly about what the environment will be like.
We need to stop using cars and we really need to focus on the pollution.
I'm more worried about the environment and I'm less worried probably about robot invasions, microwaves taking over our jobs and toasters walking our dogs. We are making changes, but we just need to make them faster and more pack a punch. 3, 2, 1, Team Microwave! This is Molly, Liv, Greta and Amelia signing off. Peace!
We're coming to this evening's show, so let's go back to Laurie for an update on tonight's weather.
Hi Ali, I've just come back to my house, hopped in a taxi, dropped my key, walking in, opening the door with my key. Here we go, skipping up the stairs. I will now raid the snack drawer. Popcorn. Closing the snack drawer. It's a very nice room. The kitchen is covered with crumbs though, and coriander, a lot of it. It's growing on the windowsill. And there's kind of like a bar here with 3 stools, and there's a little bright green lime drawing table that's right next to some big windows. Then there's a polka dot couch, and then there's my brother sitting on one of the armchairs, and then there's a big fish and a book, and out the window there's loads of cars and dunes and trees, and one of the trees has a cone in it, and there's a giveaway sign, and there's lots of lampposts, and there's a big mansion next door. I'm going into the room. There's lots of clothes in here, and it's kind of like dappled light, and I'm going to play on my iPad now. Back to you in the studio, Ali. Bye.
Nearly time for us to leave you, but before we do, we have just enough time to take a look at the headlines from tomorrow's papers. State Highway 2 closed at the Chapel Street on-ramp due to an early accident. Tauranga citizen becomes major lotto winner. Lost puppy discovered in child's bag. All the shops are having sales at the same time. Local chicken saved from slaughtering factory. Scientists discover deadly new COVID-19 variant in Tauranga. Tsunami panic in Mounta Maunganui. Litter surrounds the whole city. My teenage neighbours finally move out. Free pizza delivered to every primary school. A star is born. New Zealand is under attack. Nothing but bad jokes streaming live on TVNZ1 for the last 24 hours. Sam Uffindale resigns. Robots taking people's jobs. Everything closes for a week. Einstein comes back to life. New lockdown announced. The world goes blank. Someone breathes. Nothing happens. We have run out of headlines. The holidays have arrived. Local child's parents go on a date and never return. Police are baffled. Donald Trump dies. New species of microscopic bacteria discovered on Mars. Free movie theatre opens on Valley Road. Laurie gets a new cat and a trampoline. An ant dies. I make a new friend. A single strand of grass appears. Nukes go off. I'm going on a cruise to Fiji. Scientists confirm that Pahudakawa in P2 has become the oldest tree in the entire world. Gas changes into bubbles. Robots take over the world. Saturn collides with Jupiter. Everyone forgot my birthday. Global warming stops. Flowers surround the world. The last piece of rubbish is finally collected. Smoking becomes illegal. Kids rule the world. Crash meteor causes mass extinction event. A big amazing flower comes out of the ground. The human race goes extinct. Nature covers the earth and new plants, animals and trees begin to grow. Insect uprising. A rainbow falls from the sky. Water turns rainbow. Stars turn into rainbows. The entire universe becomes a rainbow. A new colour appears. People's imaginations become visible. Everything you draw becomes real. All inanimate things become alive. The sun explodes. And that's all for tomorrow's headlines. Thank you for watching News. Have a very good evening and good night.